What's up, guys? Jeff Carter here. Welcome to the podcast. Today we are talking about rejection. We're talking about negativity and how to counter that in our daily lives. So let's get to it. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for watching these. Download, like, share, subscribe. Make sure to have those notifications turned on so that you can get notified when these videos go live. I'm trying to do these once a week. I apologize for them not being able to get out on time always. I do have a regular job, and I'm trying to do this to help guys. So let's get into it. Negativity. As someone who has had a fairly negative outlook on life growing up and have significantly changed that, this is difficult for me to talk about. So there's a lot of negativity that's out there right now. Like a lot. Negativity against men, negativity against the idea of the conservative man. I see it a lot in the podcasts that I watch, in the different streaming feeds that I follow on Instagram. I'm on social media often as I drive. I'm listening to people talking about these issues. And the idea that there are no quote unquote real men that are out there anymore. A man that opens the door for his girlfriend, wife. A man that wants to be the main provider for his home. The idea that women can and should do anything and everything that men do. This is something that goes against the idea, and I'm going to say it, that God had intended at the beginning of time when he created them male and female. Men, I'm calling you out right now. I'm calling out all guys. We need to be the ones that lead. We need to be the ones that, and I'm not saying take charge. I'm not saying that you need to be the one that is in control, because that's the whole wrong idea. Men must be the leaders. And we must lead from a place of love. We must lead from a place that has the best interest of our spouse, our significant other, our girlfriend, our wife, whomever that is in your life. You need to be the leader. And you need to lead from a position that provides her safety. This whole idea of negativity, of rejection, of it comes from fear, first and foremost. Sorry, I'm drinking my coffee here. We cannot be afraid. We cannot be afraid of rejection. We cannot be afraid of the negativity, because you're going to face that anyways. This is when our bravery is put to the test. This is when, oh gosh, how do I put this? This is when you are going to be tested the most. I want you to know something. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to face that negativity, to face that rejection, that fear of rejection. It's okay to face it and be in a position where you're afraid of it. That's okay. Succumbing to that fear, The idea that you give in to that fear, that's not okay. That's where your bravery is put to the test. It's okay. You're going to be rejected. You will survive. You're going to face negativity. It's not going to kill you. Okay? It's okay. There are going to be times when you face these situations where you're going to back down at first. That's okay. Make sure that you use these opportunities to learn from them. All right? I've heard it said that real men never lose. We either win or we learn. Plain and simple. Don't call yourself a loser. A loser is someone who, when they get knocked down, they don't get back up again. Make sure to get back up again. Okay? Face these trials that are in your life. Face these things that are coming at you. You don't have to face them all head on, and you certainly don't have to face them alone. This is when the idea of being in community with other men around you, or even just watching this kind of podcast, this kind of material that you can find on social media. There are other men that are out there that are facing the same exact kind of things that you're facing, or have already faced them, and you can listen to them talk about their experiences and learn from them. As someone who has faced rejection a lot in his life, rejection from his parents, rejection from potential, girlfriends or mates or whatever. I have been in many different relationships. I have faced all kinds of rejection in my life. I'm still here. Married now, 10 years. It will be 10 years next month. And it's not always easy, but it's almost always good. Even the bad, even the really bad, turns out to be for my benefit, for my good. Because I am able to come away from those situations learning something. Learning something about myself. Learning something about the other person that's in my life or what used to be in my life. I'll go back to my very first relationship, my first girlfriend in high school. I'd never dated in high school. I was one of those guys that was kind of shy, and I was very, very much the extrovert. So I was always, in relationship, but never in a committed relationship with a girl. I didn't kiss a girl until I was 18. Already, my senior year of high school. It was a pretty good date and a really bad kiss. And she laughed. She laughed in my face after I kissed her. And that was that was it. It was one date and done. Yeah. Didn't have my first girlfriend until I was 19. And I was working full time. And she was 18. My very first girlfriend, we dated for, was about 6 months or 7 months. And she dumped me. She dumped me for one of her good guy friends that she went on her senior class trip with. And I had to learn about this from my friend's girlfriend. And turns out while they were on their class trip together that she had and this boy had kissed, and that's how I found out, because my friend's girlfriend was also on the senior class trip with them. I was working full time, so I didn't have an opportunity to go. And that's heartbreaking. Most often your first relationship isn't your last. I don't have a strong sense of jealousy for that type of relationship, but I do. I envy those people that meet the love of their life in high school or in junior high or whenever, and they go on to marry this person, and the next thing you know, they're fully retired and they have 50, 60, 70 years of marriage or relationship or whatever with this person. I'm envious of that. I think that is probably the most beautiful thing I've ever heard of. I didn't meet my wife until I was in my 30s. And, after traveling halfway across the country and back, um, serving time, um, my wife and I had it not been for the advent of the internet, I would never have met my wife. Even though she and I both are raised in the same city, both of us are from Tucson. I was gonna say Tucsonans. I'm not a native Tucsonan. I moved down here when I was 2 years old, but I mean, goodness, that's basically native. Yeah, my wife and I met on the internet on was it Match.com, and now we're like in May we're gonna be 10 years in our relationship. So those relation you can meet somebody that way, but traditionally, you meet the people in high school, or you meet them in college, or you meet them in church, or if you're in some kind of community service program together. This is these are natural ways of meeting people. I don't advocate meeting people in bars or in clubs or what have you because that's really not. But I'm not going to go into that. I want to talk about, like I said, the rejection, dealing with rejection. So that was my first girlfriend, rejected. I have been cheated on in my life 3 different times from 3 different women. Um, the mother of my daughter, we were an on again, off again relationship. We got together in 2006, and that was when my daughter was conceived. We separated from 2007 to, gosh, it was like 2010, no, 2011, 2011, 2012, when we got back together again. And um, no, yeah, so it was 2007 to 2010. So my daughter was 3 when um, my ex and I tried to make a go of it. Um, we ended up settling down. I asked her to marry me. She said yes. We were engaged for a year. We didn't ever tie the knot. Um, but it was about a year and a half, almost 2 years into the relationship when she started cheating on me. Um, at this point, we lived in a home together, and she has children from another relationship, and I was dad, you know, to her kids, to my daughter, and it was hard. It was really, really hard. That was probably the hardest that I've ever had to deal with any kind of rejection before. I lost a ton of weight. I dropped down to close to 100 and I think I was like 120 pounds, 130 pounds. Like I was skin and bones. It was bad. Um, that was hard. Dealing with rejection is not easy. It takes a toll on you physically as well as mentally and emotionally. And goodness, I haven't thought about that in a long time. It's not easy. I mean, here I am in a loving relationship, and I love my wife to death. Oh my gosh, she's the most important person in my life, and still I have difficulty in remembering these periods of rejection in my life. They're not easy, but it's not supposed to be easy. Life isn't supposed to be easy, and anybody who tells you that life is easy is lying to you or trying to sell you something. But that kind of rejection, it doesn't it's very, very rare. Yeah, it's really, really rare. But you know what? Like they say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. I am stronger because of it. Um, my gosh, that was in 2011, somewhere around there, 2011, 2012, and then that's when I left. Uh, that was up. 'Cause they live up in Phoenix, and that's when I left, and I moved back down to Tucson. And then it was uh, 3 years later. 3 years later is when I met my wife. There's a lot of there's a lot of opportunity for personal growth in those periods, those in between periods, and don't don't minimize that time when you are uh, a single man. This is really an opportunity for you to learn about who you really are on the inside, what you believe in, what values you have. I've heard it said that you never want to go and try to find Mrs. Right or Mr. Right. What you want to do is you want to work on yourself so that you become the person that the person you want to be with wants to be with. And that's where it is right there. Work on yourself, develop yourself, take time for personal reflection. If need be, go out and be on your own. You know, spend a day out in with nature. You know, if you have mountains around you, go drive up on a mountain and be alone and contemplative and actually sit down and take time to think about your thoughts. Being alone and in the quiet and surrounding yourself with the outdoors, that is, for me personally, because I love being outside and that's just kind of where it's at for me. But getting away to that kind of quiet so I can actually just sit and think, reflecting on what I'm thinking about, what comes to mind. Just getting out there and just being still, finding that stillness. That's good. That's really good. Especially after being or coming through a period of negativity, coming from a period of rejection where you, you really don't want to deal with anybody. Get away from it all. Just drive outside your city, find a rest stop, you know, find a quiet street that goes off into the woods or into the desert or into the forest, or I mean if you're in, you know, the Midwest, off into a farm field. You know, don't drive on the crops, but don't do that. But you know, drive off and pull off to the side and get out of your car. Go sit on the hood. If you don't have a car, then you know, if you live in the big city, hit up onto the roof. Go sit on the roof and just look out into creation. Get an idea of that you're not alone, that you are surrounded by people all over the place, and sit down and just be still. And just listen. Listen to the birds. Listen to, if you're in a big inner city and you can't get out of there, listen to the traffic, that low, steady hum that is in the background. And then just allow yourself to breathe, to settle, to find that stillness. And once you do, then you'll be able to hear yourself think. Then you'll be able to this is what they call meditating. And I was never really good at that. But I can get out and I can be still and I can just allow myself to think about random stuff, random thoughts, whatever comes to your mind. Because whatever comes is going to be okay. That's going to be what you're wanting to think about. And allow those thoughts to come, but allow those thoughts to pass. You don't want to dwell on that stuff, especially if you're just coming out of a position of rejection or negativity. Because your mind is going to want to stay on that thing. And that'll drive you mad, or it'll drive you to anger. And you don't want to go to those places. You want to be reflective. You want to just say, you know what? No, I'm not going to dwell on that thought. I want to allow that thought to pass through me, process it. Yeah, it's not okay to bottle those feelings up. Allow yourself to feel those feelings, but allow yourself to let that crap go, because that's what it is. Negativity is crap. It's not who we are. It's not what we're meant to be. It's not, dwelling in anger is not why we're here. We are here to be the leaders, and you can't lead well if you're angry, if you're dwelling. If you keep bringing that stuff up, if you keep I mean, the image that is coming to my mind right now is like a cow chewing the cud. A cow has four different stomachs. So once they eat grass, they bring that stuff back up into their mouth and they chew it again, and it processes down to another stomach. And then it comes back up and they continue chewing on it because they don't have a great source of food that provides nutrition for them. So they have to process this stuff four times so that they can get everything, all the nutrients out of that. And that's kind of what we have a tendency to do as men. We bring up those feelings and we continue to chew on them and we stew on them, and we ruminate in that stuff. We want to marinate in it, and that's not okay. You want to get away from that garbage. Process it. Yes. Feel those things. Yes. Let it go. And ultimately, that's going to bring you to a position where you can forgive that person. You can forgive that thing that brought negativity. You can forgive that girl, that woman that rejected you, that told you no, or that boss. Oh my gosh. You can forgive the boss that fired you. Because if you can't let that stuff go, you're going to bring that into your daily life as a man. The next job that you have, you're going to bring your old boss with you. And you're going to put your old boss onto your new boss. And you're going to buck against the new boss instead of allowing yourself to be molded into the new position that you've been hired for. You're going to bring your old girlfriend into your new relationship, and you're going to put that face on your new face, and you're going to bring that kind of negativity. It's going to bring in your baggage. You're going to bring that baggage with you. Don't do it, man. You're going to bring, you're going to bring your father, who is negative or rejecting you, into your new male relationships, your new friendships, and you're not going to allow yourself to develop deep, meaningful relationships with other men in your life, men that you look up to. Anybody that you look up to is going to be like your father figure, especially if they're older than you. And you won't allow yourself to learn from this new person in your life. As a man who has dealt with this stuff a lot, I did that. I mean, I had a dad who was very I dealt with abandonment issues with my dad because of my parents' divorce when I was 5. Even though he was very much a part of my life, every time he left, it's like being abandoned all over again. I had a stepfather who was alcoholic and an addict and abusive. And so I had two very good examples of what not to be like. Unfortunately, my younger brother chose to basically be just like both of them. And he is now alcoholic addict living on the streets and has been for years. I get to hear from my brother maybe once every 6 months, once a year. When he has a moment of clarity, if you know anything about addiction, the addict, the alcoholic, they have that moment of clarity when they will try to reach out, and they'll be sober. But it doesn't last very long. And if they do not act on that moment of clarity, then they go right back into their addiction. And that's what my brother does. He'll get this moment of clarity and he'll reach out. Sometimes it goes years. Sometimes, there's been a period where I haven't heard from my brother in like 3 years. And it gets to that point where I'm very, very afraid that the next time that I hear from him is going to be the police phone call or the county morgue telling me that I need to come down and identify his body, because my mom's not going to. She won't. She won't be able to handle that. So I get into these periods, and that leads back into depression and rejection and negativity, and I start dwelling on those thoughts, and then I start going down in that downward spiral. I fall right down into that rabbit hole, and it's bad. I look back on myself when I'm in those kind of times, and I hate that I become that person that dwells on those kind of negativity things that it's just bad. So, but that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'm glad that I was able to be here. I got to get out of here right now. I'm going to go ahead and post this video live. Hey, if you're not already yet, please think about being a subscriber. I post these on Rumble first, and then they go live on YouTube a week later. So if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this on the podcast, go to rumble.com. Rumble.com/the common man, I think is my account. I have to find that right now. In fact, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to pause this real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, yeah. So I am at the Common Man Podcast. Go to rumble.com/the Common Man Podcast. Rumble.com/the Common Man Podcast. Go check it out on rumble.com. You'll get these as soon as they go live each week. Make sure to follow, subscribe, smash that Rumble button, give me the thumbs up. Drop some comments down below if you like these, if you like the way that they're going. Leave me some feedback. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you again. Really, really, I'm so glad that you're here. I really hope that you're getting something out of these. If I can help in any way, shape, or form, please drop a comment. I don't always respond to the comments quickly, but I do try to respond to the comments. So thank you for those. Thank you for all the new subscribers that have followed the channel. God bless you guys, and we will see you on the next one.